You are listening to the WB Download, coming to you from Wieland Builders showroom in Studio 1C. We are a podcast centered around building custom homes, the customer experience of building a custom home, and a really entertaining listen from many great guests and interviews that may or may not have anything to do with building. I'm excited to share with you their voice and their stories that will enhance your idea of the custom builder world. Well, hello again, everybody. This is Jeff Wieland with Wieland Builders here, coming to you on the WB Download. Today is September 26th of 2023, and this is our last episode of the month. And I got to forewarn you that this episode has been pre-recorded because I'm going to be in Anacortes, Washington for our Builder 20 meeting. So this episode is pre-recorded. And so I'm just going to talk about what's happening a little bit, what I think is happening, what's going to be happening around that time. And then we're going to get into our interview. So like I said, I'm going to be in Anacortes, Washington for our Builder 20 meeting. We got a Kreider construction out there that we're going to go visit. I'm so excited to see it because he's been in the group longer than I have. I've never been there. I've never been to Washington, or that part of Washington anyway. And he does some really cool stuff. And so I hopefully in the next, in October, I'll have a ton of stuff to report and talk about how the meeting went and review some of the things that we discussed because it's going to be a good meeting. And so, the other things that are happening right now, we just closed on 2 homes and some really big homes and they're really cool homes. And that took a little while to get through. I like to say that on here because I want you to go to our website and check out the pictures that we have. We should have a Matterport on a couple of them or on one of them, maybe 2 of them. And we've got some awesome pictures of the homes that we just wrapped up and they're really cool. On the farm, we're waiting on 3 more babies to come here. And, we've had 2 so far this year and we're waiting on 3 more that are going to lead us all the way up to the end of the year. And then in January, we start all over again. And we have 4 more due in from January to about March. So that's really what's happening, in the fall here in Wieland Builders. Like I said, it's just it's hard to do this pre-recorded because you're not really sure what's going to happen. So our guest today is none other than Tommy Brand, who is a guy who owns Phantom Sound here in Southwest Ohio. And Phantom Sound does all of our low voltage wiring in our homes. And they do, and that doesn't sound very sexy, but what they do is they do all the sound. They do all of the cable, the data feeds. They're the technology that happens in these houses. When people talk about new things that are happening, going on in this business, in this industry, I think about what these guys are doing right here because it's always something that's turning, something that's new. And he talks about a few things that are new today on here. And so the way we got started doing business with Phantom Sound was a good friend of mine named Doug Bryant owned that company. And he was a builder. He was I think he worked. Hopefully he's listening. He's going to call me up and correct me, but I think he was working at IBM maybe before that, and so he decided to go and buy this company as he was headed towards retirement, and of course his plan worked because he sold it to Tommy. You may know Tommy's name because his wife Laura Brand was on the WB Download here just a few months ago. She is the executive officer of the Ohio or the Cincinnati Home Builders Association, and so we've had a really good relationship with these guys for a number of years, a long time now, and have done a lot of business with them. And I think you're going to enjoy what Tommy has to say. Also they're also a big part of Homerama when you go to the show and get to see what they have to offer there, all the music that's provided. Almost all of the homes that are in the show, they've done the music. They'll do theater rooms. They do all kinds of things like that. So, hey, I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. It's Tommy Brand coming here to you on the WB Download. All right, we're going to bring our next guest in here. It's Tommy Brand with Phantom Sound. And Tommy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
thanks for being here. Hey, we've been doing business with Phantom Sound for a long time, but you are somewhat new to. I say that, and I know you've been here a little bit longer than that, but you're somewhat new to Phantom Sound.
Oh yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you got going on?
Yeah. First of all, I consider myself a Jesus follower. I think that's number one in my life.
Nice.
I was born in Lexington, Kentucky, down in central Kentucky, but went to school down there. But I've been up in Cincinnati ever since then. So over 25 years now.
Okay. All right.
Married to wonderful, beautiful wife, Laura. We have 4 grown children, adult children, all out of college as of a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
Man, that's like a retirement plan for you.
Let's get them off the payroll.
And we know Laura because we had Laura on our show a couple months ago.
Yep.
She's the executive officer of the Home Builders Association.
Yeah. She's doing a great job, and we can talk shop a little bit, but usually we try to keep everything a little separate and don't have to bring it all home with us, which is kind of nice.
That's
sometimes
tough to do. That's tough to do, I'm sure. So you went to University of Kentucky?
I did, yeah.
Nice.
I went to, I grew up in Lexington, so I went to Lexington Catholic High School.
Yeah.
And I went to University of Kentucky, studied accounting and finance. Got an extra year out of that.
Yeah.
So I went the 5-year plan.
That's good.
Graduated and immediately got a job up here in Northern Kentucky right after that. And I've been up here ever since. It's been, we love the tri-state area, love Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. That whole area has been really good to us.
That's good. That's good. Lexington's a beautiful, beautiful town. So Lexington is a lot like Morrow, Ohio, where they say it's not how much money you have, it's how fast your horse is, right?
Exactly. Speaking of that, you probably don't know this, and Laura probably didn't mention, my family, my mom's side, we were in the horse racing, thoroughbred breeding business.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
My grandfather, my mom's dad, E.W. Thomas, had a 250-acre horse farm inside the city limits of Lexington.
Wow.
Yeah, right next to Calumet.
Man.
Yeah, so
that's beautiful. Just that place is just beautiful down there. I was in a wedding one time for one of the guys that worked on a farm down there. It was the farm where the queen stays when she comes to town.
Oh.
I can't remember what the name of it was. Lane's Inn. That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was Lane's Inn.
Yeah, that's a famous one.
And just, man, it was just, I just can't get over it. People they love going through Indian Hill in here in Ohio, and I love driving down through Lexington.
Paris Pike or Versailles Road, those areas.
Yeah.
It was a High Point farm, 250 acres. They so their claim to fame, I guess, was Our Native. If you remember the 73 Derby with Secretariat, Our Native came in third.
Wow.
And still has one of the fastest times in Derby, even though she came in third, Philly, still has one of the fastest times in Derby history because she was trying to catch up with Secretariat.
Huh. Another lap and you'd add her, right?
That's right.
We built a house for some friends of mine up in Hamilton, and he's got some race horses, and I've never gotten into it much, but we live right behind the casino in Monroe.
Okay.
And so they're racing those standardbreds down there all the time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Growing up, we had a box out at Keeneland.
Yeah.
So my grandfather did. So, going to Lexington Catholic our senior year, seniors would do service the last semester in the spring. So in April, when Keeneland ran, we'd go do our service, and we're supposed to come back to school. We'd always skip and go to Keeneland.
Nice.
and watch the horses race and bet a little bit. So that was fun.
That's good. That's a little contradictory there, but it works out, I guess. So, I think about you and Laura in this role, and she's been in there, about a year and a half, I think, or 2 years.
Yep.
And you've been about the same with Phantom Sound, haven't you?
Yeah, I bought Phantom in March of 22.
Okay. All right. So what's it like? I grew up in a family where my mom and dad were both in the business, and my wife had similar roles and or had similar roles. Is it tough to keep it separate, or is it easy? How's it work?
I think it depends on someone's personality.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to keep it separate and not bring it home too much, I think. Now, maybe she might say something different, but and I think her personality is more to talk it out and have that conversation about that sort of work stuff at home.
Yeah.
And I'm fine personally not doing that unless it's a big decision and I want her opinion on.
Yeah.
But typically I'm not bringing it home much. I may work at home, but I don't necessarily need to or want to talk about it.
Right. Well, you both essentially own a business. I mean, she's the executive officer, but she runs it like she owns it, and you do too. And it's just very, very stressful and just,
it can be. Yeah, for sure. And growing up, I think there's a big difference. You grew up and your father had a small business.
Yeah.
So you grew up in that sort of environment. I grew up, my dad worked for U.S. Food Service.
Yeah.
And so a big company, he was a regional sales manager. And Laura grew up, and her mom worked for a big company. So we didn't come from small business families, or even a family business. So I think that culture of the way you grew up affects you a lot when you get older, and how you may deal with the stresses of a small business.
Yeah. I think a lot of the, you think about the way our parents did things and how it shapes you today, whether they wanted to or not, and you can't hold anything against any parent in this world, especially if you're a parent and you realize we're all doing, once you're a parent, then you realize your parents did the best they could with what they had. Yeah. And it's the same thing with what we're doing. A lot of criticism as a parent.
You're like one of those test dummies.
Oh yeah.
You just keep taking all the hits.
Yeah, exactly. One of our window salesmen sent me a damn it doll the other day, and I think it's just this doll that's weird shaped, and you're supposed to just bang it around and throw it like whenever you get stressful. I'm not sure if that's helpful or not. So
may not be.
So you're active in the Home Builders Association, right? And you Phantom Sound has always been a big part of the Home Builders Association. Tell me about what do you think is so important about the Home Builders Association?
It does. I get the history of the HBA from my employees, from the previous owner. Yeah, that's how I even found out about Phantom and come to own Phantom. Yeah, I was doing a business development role on a business that I was partnering with some other guys on, looking for fractional CFO business for small companies. And so we joined the HBA so that I could find small and medium sized business owners that may need fractional CFOs. Or controllers, accounting, finance stuff. And so that's how I got to know Doug. Yeah. Doug is the previous owner, great guy. And we just got to know each other over the course of a couple of years. This was coming out of COVID, and learned about the business, learned about the products, the margins, all that sort of stuff. And then found out that he was going to want to retire and get to Florida. And one of his a previous deal had fallen through. And so we were kind of commiserating over that. I was giving him a little bit of consulting advice because I'm a finance accounting background, and 3 months later I own the company.
That's pretty cool. Doug is a very good friend of mine, and where he was, he left and he left us all behind. He's just sitting, I don't know where he's at,
sunning.
And I'm sure he's listening
to this.
He
comes back in his Hawaiian shirt, his shorts and his sandals. He's got the nice tan.
But he looked like that when he was here, so that doesn't have anything to do with being in Florida. He was always pretty relaxed dude, but he was a really good dude. Did great things with this company, and I'm sure that you're going to do the same, and you already have. I mean, we enjoy working with you. You guys are a partner here of ours here at Wieland Builders, and you guys basically you're doing we call it low voltage, and which is a in the biz that's a term, but tell me a little bit. So let's go back to the Home Builders Association, because I could talk about the Home Builders Association all day long. So
I was going to tell you what we get out of it and how we participate, because that was your original question. Is being active there, and for us it's all about building relationships. Yeah. And we're not selling. I think once you know someone, you like someone, and you trust someone, and you build on that path, then you're no longer selling at that point. You're just doing business with friends and people that you know and trust. And I really believe that. I believe that before I owned Phantom, and I certainly believe it after I owned Phantom. So it's all about relationship for us, and the HBA allows us to have that time and that opportunity to develop those relationships.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear you say that. I couldn't agree with you more. I built relationships with all sorts of people in the Home Builders Association, not just with people I do business with, but my friends who are other builders. And I think that people find that weird sometimes, that you're friends with people who are your competition, so to speak. Yeah. But I've been in this thing my whole life, and I've met and I knew other builders that were role models of mine besides just my dad, and I got to be, and his friends got to be my friends, and so it goes, and when we get into this, we're working around each other. We're all in the same trench together. Yeah. We all have the similar personalities, and we all for the most part, like to drink beer, so that works out really good too. So.
It does. And there's enough work out there in most of the trades. There's enough work out there for everyone. Yeah. So even though you may be competitors, you may be in the same trade or in the same business, really getting to know those people and having those relationships, I think, is still important. Yeah. I agree. The Home Builder Association for trade partners is awesome, because it opens up a platform for you to do business on and build relationships. For builders, we
we're more on the side where, for me, it's always been the relationship that I have with other builders and the knowledge that I can gain from being around those guys, and hopefully they can do the same from me. And plus we work on the deregulation is what a big part of what we don't want to happen is we already feel like we're heavily regulated. So and every single day there's somebody somewhere trying to enforce something for us to do to these houses, for the builders to be limited by, and which trickles down to you and so on. And, you know how it goes. So one of the things I get the most out of the Home Builders Association is out of my Builder 20 group, which is our National Association of Home Builders. I think you guys have a group similar to that, don't you, for audio visual?
We do. So our industry organization is called CEDIA, CEDIA. Okay. And so I'm in a CEDIA group. Doug was in the CEDIA group. I kind of took his place. And there's 5 other custom integrators. That's what we're called, as a custom integrator in the industry. 5 other throughout the country that we meet for a half a day online once a month. And then there's a CEDIA industry show, a trade show that is in Denver this year, and it's first week in September. So we're about to go. I'm taking 3 of my team members out there, so 4 of us are going out. I'll see the guys from my group out there actually in person. We'll have dinner, and then we'll go through the trade show and take a look at all the technology and what's new, and pushing the envelope. What's next as far as home automation, smart homes, and that sort of thing. That's good.
In our group, they know every single thing about us. I mean, we know every single thing about each other, how much money we make, how much money our employees make, what our financial sheet looks like. Every single thing that goes on. I don't know, are you guys like that? Because it's super helpful to have that group to be able to rely on and bounce things off of and understand if you're in the right area or not.
Yeah. So I came in and, I took Doug's place in the group. So I kind of came in the middle of a group. So I'm sure that they shared that people have no problem being open and honest in their groups. And I've asked questions and they've asked me certain questions that maybe have some confidential information, and we have no problem sharing that. So I'm sure that they did. In the beginning of the formation of the group, I did not have to share a whole lot of detail to get in, but they know the sales level, they know the general margins, they know employees and some pay. And those are the subjects of a lot of our conversations is, how do you make the business work? What are your margins like? How do you grow your margins? How do you keep your employees happy? All that sort of stuff goes in, just peer sharing. Yeah. Peer sharing is pretty valuable.
Yeah. I think it's one of the greatest things that people come up with. If you put your ego in the closet for a minute and just go and hang out with these guys and meet with them, and you can learn so much and feel more comfortable. There's a friend of mine, and we built a couple houses for him, who was a boat dealer, and they have a Boater 20 and the John Deere dealerships and the Caterpillar dealerships. They don't do a 20 group as much as they do research and development with the operators instead of like the owners. They do it with the operators, which is really cool. Understanding how to design their equipment. I just think that this is something that people should open their eyes to more, is to bring competitors together and talk about what's going on in the industry so people can learn from each other.
Now, do you guys actually have 20 people in your group?
We have this time around, I think we'll be at 16. So I think it used to be 20, and even at 14 to 16 is a lot.
Yeah. Because we have 6. Yeah. And I know the Vistage groups, which is a similar type concept in town that's not industry related. Vistage typically aims for 10 to 12. Yeah. 16 to 20 is a lot. Yeah. That seems to work okay though?
It works good because and I'm not sure if your group is like this, but they can't be in a certain area. Like they can, I can't have another person from Ohio, let alone Southwest Ohio. Right. If I know them, north, if they look at all those things, how close are you to this person? Because you don't want competitors, direct competitors being in the same room, because you want to be open and honest. Right. You don't want to be covered up. You don't want to be hiding things from people because you're going to be competing against them. And then we're all in the same realm. So we're all building similar houses. We all have similar dollar volumes, and it works out. Believe it or not, I mean, that's a lot of ego to be in the same room for a builders, and a lot of personality, I guess I should say, a lot of controllers, and we do a great job together with each other.
Does the group have a facilitator, or do you guys self-facilitate the meetings?
So the last meeting and this meeting, we're the facilitator. We do it on our own. Oh, wow. And only because I'm the president of our group at this time. And the last time we presented our financials, and we did our financials on our own, and it went okay. It didn't go as good as the first time we did it on our own. We usually have a CPA come in and do that for us. And this time we are presenting, everybody's divvied up the entire process. So we have sales, marketing to contract, and then we have contract to dig, and then, so on, market. And we have warranties, and everybody took a piece and divided it up, and we're going to present on our own, because I learn more from those other guys in the room than I do from a speaker most of the time. So that's the reason why we're doing this stuff. Yeah. And then when we come back in the spring, we're going to be in Golden, Colorado in the spring, and we'll have we'll probably have a CPA that comes and does our finances. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Do you guys meet once a month as well?
We meet twice a year in person.
Oh, just twice a year.
And then we have a listserv, like an email. I can't remember what the one is we're using now. And anytime anybody types anything into an email, it goes to that server and then goes to everybody. It's like a group chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Very helpful.
Very
so
nice.
So let's talk about Phantom Sound.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys do?
So we were founded in 1988.
Yeah.
Been around, 35 years.
Wow.
A guy by the name of Howard McGurty. I don't know if, do you know Howard?
I didn't know him.
So Howard was big in the music industry. I don't know if Doug ever told you guys, but Howard played backup horns, or not backup, just horns for James Brown.
Wow.
Sang backup vocals for Stevie Ray Vaughan. Produced when the boss Springsteen came to Cincinnati one year. One of his trailers was some story about him needing someone to produce sound and music for his concert. Yeah. Howard chipped in and was able to do that for the boss. So he's got a pretty strong, varied music background, and he was also has more of a tinkering sort of attitude. So after his music career, I guess, was fading out in probably the early to mid 80s, he came out with the Phantom Sound speaker line, which I think that debuted in the early 90s, about the architecturally hidden speakers. And that's what got Phantom Sound started. And we've been going strong ever since. I think we were in Homerama in the early 90s even.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when we joined the HBA, but I think it's been well over 20 years as far as I can find out from the old records. But yeah, our claim to fame is the architecturally hidden speakers. So it's easy to explain, but it's hard to imagine if you don't see it. A normal speaker that you see in a custom home, it's typically in the ceiling. Ours are not, and those our competitors' speakers that are in the ceiling are full range speakers. So they have the low, the mid, and the high all in one speaker. And there's usually a pair of them per room. So when you walk around that room with a meter that measures the volume, it's up and down quite a bit, because if you're under the speaker, it's loud, and if you're not, it's not so loud. So you got a lot of hot and cold spots. And so that's what Howard was trying to fight against. And he wanted the consistency of the audio inside the room and from room to room, the transition to be consistent. And so he took the speaker, split them apart first. So took the mid and the high, put it in the tweeter, split it apart from the subwoofer, put the sub in the floor underneath an HVAC register, and put the tweeter in the wall behind a single gang outlet plate. And so that's our speaker set. You get one sub with two tweeters, and that's a set. And we'll typically do one set per room. If you get to a great room, kitchen, dining room, a big area, open area, it's usually 3 to 4 sets in there to kind of fill up that space with consistent sound throughout. So the tweeter that you're talking about is essentially the speaker, and it's in the wall, and it's down at the outlets, the height, and it looks just like an electrical outlet. The only difference is you can't plug anything in. It's like a GFCI plate, so it's got that rectangle opening, and there's a white mesh screen there instead of an outlet. Yeah, it blends in perfectly. Oh, yeah. What do you do when you have furniture placement and things like that? If you have a couch sitting in front of it, does that deaden the sound? Does it ruin the sound? Or for the subwoofers, no. So if a couch or a piece of furniture is over the vent, no problem. The sound waves can escape under, as long as it's not trapped by like a piece of wood or under a cabinet where there's the cove base or something. As long as it can get out, your low sounds are fine. Yeah. But so the minis do need to have, they're more directional as far as that high sound goes. That's usually the lyrics and the vocals in the music, and they do need to escape. So we need to be careful about how we place those and where furniture is going to be. So there is some science to that. Yeah.
definitely. So you're working with people on furniture layout and placement and cabinetry placement.
And we can usually tell from the layouts that we get from the builder what it looks like and where the furniture is going to go. And our guys, especially one of our techs, has been doing it for 25 years. So he knows. He's been doing it such a long time that he's an expert at placement of all the speakers, so he can tell pretty easily.
How many employees do you guys have?
We have 7, including myself.
Okay.
And just to continue on what is Phantom Sound, a custom integrator. So in addition to, we're not just a sound company. That's what's in our name, but we're a full service. So we do video, home theater, security, motorized, blinds, shades, bug screens, smart lighting, all of that stuff.
Wow. I didn't know you did all that other stuff.
Yeah. So it depends on the customer and what they want.
You're a horrible salesperson.
Exactly right. But that's one of the things, with our name and what we're known for, everyone immediately goes to the audio and the speakers. And it's like, hold on. Yeah, we do that. And we love that, but we do a whole lot more as well.
Well, you have to diversify your company. You can't just, you don't have to, I guess, but it's really good that you can.
Yeah.
Especially if it's in the same category, with that low voltage stuff.
It's so much more opportunity, and all of our competitors are just as diversified. So we need to be offering our customers that whole range of options and products.
Yeah. So when you say sound, what does that mean? We talked about the speakers a little bit, but you're talking about, I just remember the big thing at Circuit City when I was a kid was surround sound, and it came out and had all this stuff going on. Comes back to your TV, but isn't it more like, you guys have done some stuff at our house where we have a subwoofer outside by the pool. You have speakers out there. You have rock speakers. You do these things at Homerama that look like flower pots that are speakers. What all does that entail with this sound?
So the sound that we do, the Phantom Sound line of speakers, is the interior architecturally hidden stuff we talked about. It's also the home theater surround sound speakers. So we have speakers behind the theater screen if you choose a theater screen. They can also be behind the TV if you choose a TV. Then they're in the walls and the floors, maybe the ceiling if we have to, depending on where the walls are in relation to the room and how big the room is. And we'll put those surround sound speakers so you can get a 5.1, a 7.1, or even 11.1 Dolby Atmos home theater with the Phantom Sound speakers. And then moving outside, we have a set of landscape speakers and a set of hardscape speakers. And the hardscape you mentioned was the flower box.
Yeah.
So it's inside a teak, some wood we import from Indonesia, teak, get it in natural or gray, and 7 speakers inside. And it's beautiful because no one knows it's speakers.
Right.
You got beautiful flowers in the top that are functional. They drain and all that good stuff.
How much continuing education do you have to do to keep up with what you got going on?
My guys do most of it. I do some of it. And my continuing education is just being in the business and learning from them and going to job sites and with my sales guy and just participating in the business, because I started at such a low level, being new to the industry and new to Phantom. Just being in the business every day is enough learning for me so far. Now I'm going to get to the point where, going to these trade shows, CEDIA and the industry groups and talking with my peers, and I learn in pretty much everything I do.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem for that. I'm not too proud to learn. I know there's a lot that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to tell someone I don't know, hey, explain that to me. And that's why we have good vendor partners and we have distributors, and we joined a purchasing group, and it's called Oasis Residential Technology Group. And so we learn from each other there as well. That's so good. Just asking questions and having that growth and learning mentality, I think, is important.
That's amazing how much our businesses mirror each other is in terms of our industry. We have a purchasing group, CBUSA, that we buy things through. It's almost. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. We get some really good deals because we all buy together, and we operate like a $500 million a year company when we bring all of these people together in Southwest Ohio, which is really good. But it's also another opportunity for us to sit down, have lunch together for these builders, and we're exclusive, and we can talk to each other about what's going on and find out what about this person? How are you dealing with this person? What's the business like over here? Right. And it really works out good. And that sounds like that's what you're doing too.
Yeah, very similar.
So what about you talk about overhead projectors and the big, the movie screens and TVs and sound, of course. What else is there? Because I know, we do security. We're doing, you guys installed our whiteboard in here in our office, which is really cool. It's a smart board, whiteboard. You can get the internet on it. We can watch TV on it, I think, if you wanted to. But it's really cool for us because we have a TV on one side and we have our whiteboard on the other side, and we bring our blueprints up on the whiteboard. We can make the digital notes on it, and then we can do it in different colors. We can save that image, and I'm not bragging about us, I'm bragging about you, and just so everybody's clear. We can save that image, and then we can send it back and send it out to everybody. And the difference is, what we used to do is we have a plan, and we would probably boil it down to 11 by 17. We would make notes on it, scratch it, and then you'd have to scan it in,
copy it, scan
and it came out horrible. You couldn't read it. It was black and white, and it was crazy. So that's really been super helpful for us to be able to balloon those areas of changes or whatever we're doing, make notes on it, and then clearly send it out to people. But the other thing is our TV that's on the other side of the room in our selection center. We pull up people's house pages. We pull up their Pinterest pages. We pull up any kind of online colored, it's beautiful screen. So we're pulling that up. So we're kind of going back and forth between the two of them and understanding what their taste is, what their likes are, and all these different things that can happen. And that's something that you guys did here in our office, which was really cool. So I think it's important to know that people, when they think about phantom sound, you're not talking about speakers. You're talking about all sorts of things. I think you did the same projector at the HBA office too.
We did, yeah. They have one of those Epson whiteboard projectors as well. Plus, I think we have some sound in their main conference room as well. Yeah.
What does whole house automation mean?
Whole house automation, smart homes. It can mean a couple different things. We're a Control4 dealer. Yeah. We're also an Elon dealer. We're installing mostly Control4 these days.
Control4 is different than Sonos, right?
It is. Control4 is the automation or the home control system. And so what that does is it puts everything that will talk to it under its umbrella. So instead of having 10 different apps on your phones to control all the different stuff in your house, it's all under one app, one control pad on your wall or in your bedroom. So you can control everything from one spot.
Okay.
The one thing that we're starting to learn more about is a product called Josh. You've heard of Alexa and Siri and all the voice control big tech products that are out there. Well, Josh is a similar product.
But it's a dude.
But one thing it is a dude. But a couple other cool things about Josh is that it's natural language recognition. So you don't have to say specific room names or specific names of your appliances or lights. You can just tell it and talk in natural human terms as long as you say Josh, and it's gonna theoretically know what you want it to do. And so it's a lot less limiting, and you don't have to remember stuff. Easier for kids to work with Josh inside the home and for it to be successful. And then another thing that they do is they have privacy of data. So I know there's a lot of people's concerns with Google and Apple and Amazon as far as sharing data, and are they always listing on the devices in your home? Probably. Right. But Josh is a private company, was founded 5 years ago, and they serve a different clientele, and the clientele that really wants their information to be held privately and not shared and not list. You can turn their microphones off and not listen whenever you would like. And so we're becoming a dealer with Josh. Okay. In the area right now, there's only 2 companies that are certified Josh dealers. And I don't believe, from talking with Josh, that either one of them have done any significant projects. So we are becoming a dealer with Josh, and we'll be able to install that in people's homes going forward.
That sounds like a nifty product for Homerama, if you ask me.
It is, yeah.
It would look good in a Wieland home.
It would absolutely. It'd be pretty cool.
That sounds really cool. I don't know what the big hang up is. I guess people want privacy, and I'm sure if you ask my wife, she wants privacy. But if people listen to anything that was going on in my house, they'd probably turn the volume down and they'd be like, "You're nuts." I mean, I'm not going to listen to this guy. But I also need somebody to listen to it anyway, because everybody's always telling me that they told me something and I don't remember it, and I probably need somebody to secretly listen to me. But so when you talk about Control4, you're talking about, it's an app on your phone. I could be in Colorado and turn my sound system on in my house.
Yeah.
It also can operate the heating and air conditioning system at some point, can it?
Yeah.
And,
Thermostat.
and so there's also an iPad in the house. There's a digital control panel on the wall.
Yeah.
It goes for your security. It's everything. So what's the difference between Control4 and Sonos? Sonos is
just completely audio.
It's just
music.
sound. Yeah.
So your sound throughout your home and your speakers on your sound bars for your TVs. Could be in your theater as well, but Sonos is just audio. Sonos,
You have to have both, right?
Yeah, Sonos will hook into Control4.
Right.
Sonos will also hook into Josh.
Okay.
Josh can layer on top of Control4, or Josh can be all by itself.
Okay.
So Control4 just doesn't have any natural voice activation. So, and Josh does. So some people will skip Control4 and go to Josh. Some people already have it in their home Control4, and you can layer Josh on top.
And you can do your blinds with that. You can do lights with it. You can do light fixtures,
lights, security, any smart appliance, as long as it talks the same language. So there's different protocols and languages inside the home where they communicate wirelessly.
You mean the artificial intelligence language, right? Not like voice language.
Yeah, it's like it's an internet protocol. So I don't know if that's
not like German and English and Japanese, right?
Two of the big one's, one is Zigbee and one's Z-Wave.
Okay.
It's just the way that they communicate wirelessly inside the home. So any appliance that communicates in one of those prominent languages or prominent protocols, the control system should be able to handle that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Man, that's crazy. I think whenever I think about, people are always talking to me, and their number one question always is, what's new? What's happening in these houses? What's so cool? What's so cool? And I'm like, well, we still have bedrooms. We still have great rooms. We still have kitchens. We still have, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? But when I think about the newest modern, anything that happens in these houses, I think about what you do. And because that's where it's at. I mean, you think about just look at the evolution of the TV in the last 10 years or 15 years. That's amazing. What's happening with that now.
We got two 100-inch TVs going in, both in the next month.
Man, that's crazy.
I don't think we had ever installed a 100-inch television in the past, and we got two Sony 100. One's a 98 and one's a 100.
Man,
and they're about $10K each.
Really?
Yeah, and we got them both going in probably by the end of the September.
Is it a better picture and everything's just more glorious and glamorous with that, or is it just bigger?
Well, it's just like you go to the movies, you have the big theater screen. It's immersing, right? The bigger it is, the more immersed you are in what you're watching, and it's just as good of a picture as you get from the 55-inch OLED. It's an OLED as well, and it's just beautiful.
Right.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, so that brings us to the next one. What's the craziest thing you've ever done in a house? Because there's 100-inch TV sounds pretty cool, but I mean, you got to see some wicked stuff, right?
Yeah, so I know in the past they have done a pop-up television, which is kind of crazy. So I think it was an outdoor. So you had this, I think it was a brick wall, and instead of having the TV hanging somewhere, you hit a button, and all of a sudden the top of the wall flips open, the TV just rises out of the brick wall, which is kind of cool. I think we've done one of those in a bedroom as well. Yeah. Behind a dresser maybe, or something like that. So, the 100-inch television is pretty cool. So we've done a lot of pretty cool stuff that would just amaze you. And then behind the scenes, they all have easy explanations as far as how everything works together. It's all engineering and electronics, and our tech guys, not me. Yeah. But our tech guys know exactly how that stuff works, and it's not as maybe amazing to them as it may seem to us.
Right. Yeah, it's old hat to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you work with anybody on the soundproofing of the rooms? And, we've done this quite a bit. We build houses for ER doctors where they need a sleeping room. And the first time I was ever introduced to this was in like 1986, I think it was, somewhere in there. And Carrie Fitzpatrick built a house in Homerama I think it was for a charity of something, but they had it was supposed to be a soundproof room, but it was an unbelievable sound room. I mean, oh, wow. I remember they were playing a movie in there, and I just couldn't believe how it rumbled, like when you were sitting in there, make your shirt vibrate. But that really, when you stood on the outside of the room, you couldn't hear it. So it was pretty cool. Do you work with people like that? Because that's a big deal with the sound and not transferring the sound to other places. Yeah.
So there's two different things. So one is you want to have the acoustics in the room and adjust those with acoustic tiles, walls, ceiling, make sure there's carpet and different things you can do on the inside to absorb the sound so that you get a better listening experience inside. And then you can also put different products in the walls to keep the sound from escaping that room to those who are in adjoining rooms.
Right.
So yeah, we actually don't have that many requests for either one.
Yeah.
But we've certainly done it in the past, and we can certainly help people if they have that request. But typically you get the designers and the people who are interested in the way things look, and you get those acoustic tiles and some of the stuff that would help the inside experience, and they just don't think it looks good, so they don't go that route.
Right.
But it's certainly something that we can do and that we offer to all of our customers.
Yeah, we do too. And we don't have that much of a desire for. I mean, I was going to mention also theater rooms where people are like, we want a theater room, and where they're dropping the basement floor down, and you're dropping it 2 or 3 feet down. You create this step up audience, atmosphere, and I don't think I've ever done one, and I don't know if it's because our customers have more, like, they're going to watch TV and they don't need all that, they don't want to be confined to those areas or whatever it is. Do you guys do a lot of those?
We actually we haven't actually dedicated theater rooms. We typically would do 1 or 2 a year. We see more of the great room, surround sound type rooms in the lower level. But right now, we just did a theater room up in Waynesville for, I don't think he had any sort of step ups or drop down or any elevation in there, but it was a dedicated theater room. And then we have another theater room that is dedicated as well in Coldstream. Yeah. And that does have 2 steps with theater seating and all that stuff in there. But it's a television, not a projector and screen in that one. And then there's a third theater room. Oh, where is that? Maybe Morrow, I think that we're doing. And it does have 1 step up. So none of the ones that we've seen recently are where the foundation is sunken. It's more they're just building with wood, just building the step ups where the furniture will sit. So it's more of a theater feel that way.
Yeah. I think those things are cool, like I said, but I think people want flexibility to be able to move around, open themselves up. You could have all of that stuff. Just give me the popcorn maker with a butter machine on it. That's the coolest thing in the world.
Movie theater butter. That's
right. That's what we want.
You can't beat that.
And that button over there, like where you just hit the button and just keep it's pouring the butter on. That's crazy. It's good. So how do you work with customers when our customers want to start designing their sound system? They want to think about Sonos. They want to think about Control4. They want to think about security and blinds and all these things. How do you handle that with them?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a process. So we'll have their information. We'll make contact with them over the phone, introduce ourselves. Hey, these are the things that we do. We probably want to schedule a time for you to come in, make sure we have your plans. We've looked at them beforehand, and they come in and we have a personal meeting that's an hour and a half with the couple or the person who's building the home. But before that, we'll send an email to them to let them know, hey, here are the things that we can do in any given home. And it's 7, 8, 9, 10 different things. And a lot of them they may not have ever considered, or it just may not have occurred to them that, we can do these things. So that's how we kind of open up their mind. We want them coming into that meeting knowing what is possible, whether or not they're going to do it, but at least they've thought about it. So they don't get in and we ask them about smart lighting. Oh, never really thought about smart lighting. I'm going to have to get back to you. We'd like to get everything out in the open and everything at least considered and know which direction you're thinking of going, when we meet with you.
Yeah. Do you do a walkthrough on the site with them? And
we do. Okay. Yeah, we do. Our process includes 2 different walkthroughs. So you have the initial walkthrough, which is usually around when the electric walkthrough happens, and then the one right before the trim phase, where we do TV placement and things like that. The walkthrough at that point.
That's
correct.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. We probably need to incorporate you a little bit better in that, where we do that trim walk prior to drywall, because we want to make sure that your speakers aren't in the middle of our wainscoting and crown moldings and casings and all these different things we have going on. I think about that a lot. We probably need to do that. So make a note of that. That's right. What we should do better in order to better serve our customers and me and our drywaller. So do you guys have a showroom?
We do. Yeah. Okay. So we're located in downtown Mason.
Okay.
We're in an old 100-year-old house, story and a half. The first floor is part of the first floor is the showroom. We have a dedicated theater room where we have a Dolby 11.1 Atmos surround sound in there. Have you been in there?
I don't think I've been in there.
Dude, you need to get in there.
Yeah, I do.
It's a good demo. Talk about like shaking your
Yeah.
Whatever hair we have left,
that's
pushes
not
it
gonna happen
back.
to me, but maybe my shirt.
We have a set of our whole house, speaker set in our reception area, and then out back in the patio. It's just a concrete slab, nothing fancy, but we have a set of our landscape speakers and a planter box speaker as well.
Nice. That's a good, I mean, you can see from our place here, that's a good selling point, is to be able to get people to be able to see what you do. So what are some things that you think you're going to see in the next 5 years in the low voltage, in the audio visual? What do you think you're going to see here?
Yeah. So one of the trends that we're seeing in some states, and I don't know that we've seen it here in Ohio yet or in our area, is the Romex feeding switches and fixtures going away, and that becoming low voltage.
Oh, wow.
And that would be a big change on the electrical side.
Yeah.
And that would change the industry a decent amount. So a lot of things that are more advantageous if you go low voltage. So LED is now, you can't buy a bulb that's not LED, right? So all the fixtures are LED, all the bulbs are LED. The switches can work on low voltage as well. So there's really no requirement for Romex to be run above knee height in any of the rooms. So if you think about the cost of Romex versus low voltage, I think Romex runs about 55 cents a foot. Low voltage is 8 cents a foot.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the certification to run high voltage versus low. There's no certification for low because it's not the risk. There's no risk.
Right.
And the way it connects into a switch or into a fixture is a lot faster. No more that, you got to connect the Romex. It's slower. So there are a lot of advantages going low voltage. I think you're going to see that. I know it's in Texas and a few other states. I've talked with people in my buying group that are members that I've seen at some of the get-togethers, and they've talked about how they've actually started companies to do that.
Yeah.
So
that's super interesting because there's a whole nother conversation that needs to be had with the energy companies, because they build all this energy up, and in the last several years when they started going to low to zero net energy homes, people finding other means, solar, finding other means and sources for their energy needs. These guys have all this energy that's built up, and they're trying to find it, because it's not like you can just build it up and put it in a bottle and and leave it sit there down at Beckshort or something. They need to do something with it.
You got to use it.
And so they're having, as these things evolve, they're having to change what they do, and Duke Energies and all these different people about how they're supplying electric to the world, and where their resources are coming from on that. I was surprised to hear you say that about the Romex cost, because my electrician thinks that the Romex cost is $100 a foot, not 55 cents a square foot or lineal foot, because, and anyway, that's what they tell me. They're always bitching about the price, but
of course,
you know how it goes. So that would be really cool, because I think also another thing that people do a lot of times is they're trying to, the labor side of it is always an issue. I mean, we're always looking for not labor, but we're looking for skilled labor. Yeah. And so window manufacturers are trying to make the windows easier to set. Shingle manufacturers are trying to make shingles easier to put on. And all these different things, as you go down, they're making doors easier to set. And it's because the labor, I don't know if it's laziness or if it's just unskilled, or people aren't, taking the time to go and learn how to do it right way, but they want to make the easier for everybody. And so that low voltage
is definitely easier to put in.
A lot easier.
Absolutely. And again, the less risk and the training involved, the certification involved is just all much less.
That would be one of the biggest evolutions of wiring since it went from copper wiring, or went from aluminum wiring to copper wiring. Yeah. And when they made that transition, the biggest issue that people had was they were using copper wiring and aluminum fittings, or vice versa. And what would happen is it would get hot in there, and one of them would sink in, it would shrink, and it would be bouncing back and forth in that fitting. And they say that that's the reason why the Beverly Hills Supper Club burned down.
Really?
It was because they had copper and aluminum mix in there.
Okay. Is that the knob and tube stuff?
Yeah. That, and so now we just use aluminum for the heavy stuff and copper for the Romex.
Okay.
But if you're going with that low voltage, that would be different.
Yeah.
That would be really different.
That would be industry changing.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. So, man, do you have a website to go to?
Yeah, www.phantomsound.com.
There you go.
Pretty easy.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We're continually updating it with new pictures of different jobs and work that we've done and our team, and so it's good information there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we really enjoy and we value partnerships here at Wieland Builders. You guys have been one of our partners for a long time. We do a lot of different things with you, and we appreciate you a lot. And I hope we probably don't get an opportunity to say that enough. You know, we do it our breakfast every year, but in person, and that's one of the things I love about this podcast is I get to learn more about you, get to learn more about our relationship, and get to understand what you guys have going on, and so it's been pretty cool.
Well, we are truly honored to be a vendor for yourself, for Wieland, and all the other customers that we have. We take that seriously, and we try our very best to do a great job for everyone. So thank you,
and we believe you do. So thank you for being here, and thanks for all you do with us.
Thank you, Jeff. This has been great.
That's been cool. Tommy Brand here on WB Download. All right, everybody. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode, listening to what Tommy has to say from Phantom Sound, listening to the new technology that happens in these homes and the things that are coming down the pike for what we do as far as what we call low voltage speakers. They're Phantom Sound, in case you haven't noticed yet, and I hope you go to their website and check it out. Their outlets, their speakers look like an outlet that's on the wall. That's why they call it Phantom Sound. There's so many different things that happen with this stuff that is beyond me, how it works really. But it's really cool. So, it's become more and more a big part of what we do. So anyway, I want to just say thank you again to Tommy for coming out here and being on the episode, being on a WB Download and taking his time out. I also want to say thank you to these guys for being such a wonderful partner to Wieland Builders, being one of our trade partners, being part of our family here and working with us every day. They do a great job, and it's just nice to have these relationships with these guys. So, thanks again for them. Thank you to the audience for listening to us once again. It's been awesome having you guys here and getting comments from people, and everywhere I go, and I'm always shocked everywhere I go. I'm walking up the street or I'm talking to somebody, and it's usually people we know or something like that. And they say, "Hey, I was listening to the WB Download the other day. I listened to other builders around town here. I listened to people, Bob Lysak from Anderson Windows called me the other day, and he said, hey, I'm going to promote the WB Download this week in one of the Builder 20 meetings, national meetings. And I thought, man, that's really cool. I hope this thing sparks. I hope people want to get on here and people are listening and learning and enjoying the voice that these people have that we're interviewing. So thank you to the audience for listening. Our next episode is going to be the second Tuesday in October, and I am hoping, because we haven't nailed it down just yet, but I am hoping that it's going to be another homeowner that we have, and she's awesome, and we've been talking about it for some time and just trying to nail down her schedule to get her on here. But that's going to be a cool interview. So I hope everybody comes back here and listens on the second Tuesday of October to that interview. And we've got some really good people lined up here for the rest of the year, and it's going to be interesting. So hey, don't forget to subscribe to the WB Download on wherever you get your podcast from, and like our and share it with all your friends and say, hey man, this guy's either really smart or really dumb. You should listen to the things he says. So I just want to remind you that we come out on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, or you have questions or have anything, comments or anything like that, you want to get a hold of us, you can email me at wbdownload@wielandbuilders.com. That's at WIELAND builders.com. And for more behind the scenes, like I talked about, if you want to see some of these houses that we just closed, see houses that we've built in the past, and see these awesome pictures that we have, go to wielandbuilders.com. That's WIELAND builders.com. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Really proud to have you on here, and we'll catch you in the first part of October. Have a great one, everybody.